Greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How you doing, people? How you doing? All right. Well, things are unraveling right on schedule. We're live on Substack, Odyssey, and YouTube. If you're watching on one of the alternative channels, give a shout. Give a shout wherever you're watching. Okay, so yeah. The big news of the week or the last couple of days is the ICE agent taking out a soccer mom. Just basically best way I heard it put. And there wasn't really a reason. She tried to drive away. That was basically the reason. And they're trying to make it. There's a bunch of people out there saying, I don't know what this reasoning is. Kate on Substack, what's up? I don't know what the reasoning is. Well, this is the reason. The reasoning they're giving you is that she, drove away from the officer, she resisted arrest, or she drove her vehicle at an officer, so she deserved to be shot in the face. All of it is nonsense. And what really sucks is that that's propaganda. Basically, that was constructed by the administration, and then the people, I suppose there are some influencers that actually feel this way, or maybe there's right wingers that actually feel this way, I suppose. But I think it's mainly based on propaganda. Kind of like, the Venezuelan, well, Maduro was a dictator, so it's good he's gone. It wasn't good the way we did it. No. That's propaganda. That's absolute bullshit. He was not a dictator. He wasn't killing his people, mowing them down in the streets. No. He was continuing the Chavez, or the Chavista socialism programs. That we didn't like him. We funded a whole bunch of right-wing military operations in the country, and whoever was, we would fund groups to go out and cause mayhem, just like we do everywhere else in the world. I'm sure there are people in Venezuela that don't like Maduro. Like every country, I'm sure the people are going to not like the people in charge. Some people are going to not like people in charge, but I don't want to hear from anybody well, he was a dictator, so no, he wasn't. So chata with that stuff. That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. That's just propaganda. Don't be a tool. Stop being a tool. And if you're like saying that this woman deserved it, or she didn't, you're a freaking tool. You are a tool. It was illegal, and they shouldn't have shot at her. There was no reason to shoot at her. There was no reason for that. Absolutely none at all. That was just extrajudicial killing on the part of the ICE agent. There was no reason for it. And the pretzel logic that people are trying to use to make it seem like somehow she deserved it is absolutely nonsense, and it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So, I don't know how you counter the people out there that are like, oh, whoa, oh my God. Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know how you counter people like that. Just know that it's propaganda. You watched H.A. Goodman's coverage? Okay. What? So what? There's a ghost in front of the. Yeah, right. Like he was driving the vehicle at an. He was not. No, she was not driving the vehicle at an officer. That's not. That didn't happen. That did not happen. Absolutely did not happen. Here's the footage of it. We can watch this if you want to. It just sucks. It really sucks because there's, they're laying it on every time one of these events happens. The social media propaganda team just jumps out there and starts revving up. After it was really insane after Charlie Kirk. Really insane. But every time something happens, the social media propaganda team jumps out there and starts cranking out the videos and cranking out the and all the bots, all the right-wing bots and the influencers get out there and start drumming it up for the Trump administration. It's crazy. I still don't know that it really changes people's minds. Maybe. Mainly it's for manufacturing consent. That's all it's about. I'm not judging you, Kate. I understand. You want to get somebody else's take. I get it. I mean, why not? His video showed a person in front of the vehicle. All right, well let's look at it. Let's take a gander. Let's take a gander. I don't know if we need sound. No, shame. There's nobody in front of the vehicle. God. What the fuck? Let's watch it again. Did y'all see that? Did you see anybody in front of the vehicle? I didn't. She's basically just saying fuck off, right? That's all she's just like, fuck off, fuck you guys. And that's what they shot her for? That's not a reason to, nope. Is there somebody in front of this vehicle? No! There's another officer on the other side, but okay, I see. There is somebody in front of the vehicle. There actually is somebody in front of the vehicle. Whoa. But he wasn't like, yeah, no. But he wasn't like in danger. He just moved. He moved out of the way and he was like, and then was he the one that shot? Yeah, it was. But look, he's in front of the vehicle and he moves out of the way. He just like steps around. That's wild. That's fucking wild. That's insane. It's still not a reason. But, all the right wingers are going to be like, yeah, you should have obeyed the law. No! He also steps in front of the vehicle as she's backing up, right? So you can see him move around from one side to the other and he steps in front of the vehicle. See that? And he's at the corner of the vehicle and he just steps to the side. He's the one that shoots her. Bam, right there. Man. What video does H.A. Goodman have? There's somebody else in front of the vehicle? There is nobody else in front of the vehicle. Yeah. I mean, there's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. And all they're doing is saying like move or something, and she's like fuck you. That's it. Which is what they shot her for. They shot her for just saying fuck off.
Oh my fucking god! What the
I don't see any other people here other than that guy. That guy has the gun. And he steps out of the way before he even shoots.
No! No! Shit!
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, it's murder for sure. There's no reason for it. Well, I might actually even go watch HA's version, but I don't find it I've seen that video a bunch of times. And I just didn't see, it didn't look like she was like plowing somebody down or, that was not at all what happened. He wasn't in danger. No, you're right, Chad. Absolutely. It does not it doesn't rise to the level of him having to pull his gun. That's the thing. He also pulled his gun. He's kind of at the corner of the vehicle and he's realizing that she's gonna drive away, and he pulls his gun to fire on her, which is not you don't know what. No. But people are incensed over this. Absolutely. I mean, this is Aaliyah or Alia. I don't know how you say her name. ICE just shot and killed 37-year-old U.S. citizen in broad daylight in Minnesota. Car was already turning away. The officer fired through the open driver's window as she passed. No warning, no hesitation. If this doesn't push people to organize, mobilize, and take to the streets, whatever will. And that, I mean, good point about there's zero warning. And you don't just shoot. You don't just fire into people's cars like that. If you ever seen a high-speed chase? You ever see somebody running away from the scene of the crime? They don't just fire randomly into people's cars. I mean, I guess occasionally they do. But that is not procedure on any level. I mean, pretty much on Substack and Twitter and everywhere else, I see people just saying like, people are boiling. I mean, after the Venezuelan, whatever that was, which pissed people off to no end, and then you have this happen, and now people are really. He put himself in harm. Yeah, he stepped in front of the car. Victory Chin, yeah. He stepped in front of the car. He was not in front of the car. She was backing up. He stepped in front of the car, right, to whatever he was doing. So that's not, he was mobile. He wasn't, trapped. He wasn't sitting on the ground. He wasn't like prone. He didn't have his back turned. He wasn't, he stepped in front of the car and then stepped easily out of the front of the car. They had no reason to be engaging. Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of different stories about what was happening. They were basically trying to tell her to move. But yeah, pretty much uh there's a wall of people on every social media platform I see right now just saying like it's time to flip tables, it's time to, we got to do something. Well, yeah. Are we clear it's fascism yet? Well, yeah. Um I think we're pretty clear. It should be. I don't see any resistance to this. Not, I mean, yeah, people are out there filming. There are people tracking, trying to track the ICE agents' movements or find out who they are, et cetera, et cetera. There are, people trying to observe, at the very least, observe what's happening or, um, well, I don't, Oh, well, I've seen a few videos, Kate, about what the people that are, well, she should have, it was all her fault. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, one thing I wanted to, let's see. Let's see. No, let's see. Here. Hold on one second, guys. Where is it? Ship it down. Here we go. People are hopping mad about this, and they should be. I don't see the kind of I don't see the George Floyd energy anywhere. Do you guys see anything? I mean, yeah, there are protests happening. There are. I'm not trying to dismiss the people that are out there trying to show up. But I don't see the energy as far as like, people just getting out there and really like uh you know, whatever you think. What the hell? This is not my video. Not the one that I wanted. Man, this is not my video. God dang it. That sucks. Hold on one second. Can we get the correct video? Bro. Can we get the correct video, people? I mean, yeah, maybe people are feeling a lot more intimidated. Nope. They are not going to give me the video that I'm trying to send a video to my browser and they will not give me the video. This motherfuckers. um Chad says the important issue here is that the victim is a citizen entitled to due process of the law. Well, all people are entitled to due process, citizen or not. That's the thing is like, people are like, oh, well, now they shot a U.S. citizen. Now they're, or they've detained U.S. citizens. They've disappeared U.S. citizens. But there's no difference. Everyone is entitled to due process. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's illegal to detain somebody and ship them off or deport them or whatever it is you're going to do without due process, without habeas corpus. Well, I'm trying to send this video. This is the mayor of Minneapolis.
To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here.
This is the mayor.
To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People
there, and he's. I mean, you can't be more clear than that. And that's how people feel pretty much everywhere. Like, get the fuck out. So, I mean, do we all need to show up at the White House and be like, get the fuck out, get the fuck out, get the fuck out? Yeah, I know. Ring-tailed fox. Yeah. Several U.S. citizens were knowingly deported to the mega prison in El Salvador. Yep. It doesn't matter. That's the thing is like when people say a U.S. citizen, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what, I mean, yeah, I guess you could say it's beyond the pale or, well, if they were just going to do it to immigrants, it's not okay in any case. In any instance, it's not okay. It's not acceptable. It's not, excusable. It's not supposed to happen. It's just not supposed to happen. The immigration thing is just a crock of shit anyways, because it was just a reason to do this. It was just a reason to put ICE on the streets to start terrorizing people. We let all those people in anyways. We let them in. They didn't sneak across. We weren't like, oh no, we let them walk the fuck on in. And then we're like, oh my God, what about the immigrant? It was just, we created the problem in order to point at it and call it a problem and do exactly this. That's the whole game. That was the whole game. It's not. They made this whole thing happen. It is all theater. It is all theater. It is all completely theater. They're just making all this stuff up in order to generate the reasons to put SS troops out on the street. In order to whatever they're going to do. I don't know what. Gin up resistance or gin up animosity or gin up some kind of civil war. I don't know. Right? Obsolete optics. Yeah. I mean, well, you're right. They don't have any jurisdiction, but it doesn't matter. I saw another video. I don't know if they're going to let me. So Instagram is being really weird lately in that they're making it slightly more difficult to share things. Ever so slightly more difficult to share things. which is annoying. Is this the one? I think I missed it. Anyway, somebody saying that, Trump's signing some more laws or enacting some more granting troops more power. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they're basically, the thing is that they're basically poking, the public, saying like, are you going to do something? You're going to do something. They're basically daring people to resist. And I think, a lot of people are like, oh, don't, they're trying to get you to, fight back so they can, I don't know. I actually think they're way more, they'd be way more easy to topple over if people just started, it's like the people in San Diego or anywhere else who, when the ICE agents showed up, they all just got out in the street and said, get the fuck out of here. And they all ran off. If a few million people got out in the streets, they'd be intimidated by that, and they'd probably scurry off and try to figure out what their next move was. But this is an illegal occupying army. This is an illegal, everything that the Trump is doing and everything that he's doing with the National Guard and ICE and all that is all illegal. All of it is illegal. So it's only legal in the sense that they can twist things in order to say like, we're operating under the law and you are not. And it just, there's everything's upside down. Logic is upside down. Sorry, I'm not paying attention to the Substack chat. I apologize if you're watching on Substack. Yeah, they're trying to, like have the guy detained, the guy that did this, the officer. Yeah, what they are doing is illegal, and they know they know that. News coming out about riots in Iran or Mossad false flags. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. We're just kind of chatting along here. Federal agents reportedly antagonizing protesters and scattering weapons. Tensions continued mounting Thursday morning outside a federal immigration facility in Minneapolis following the fatal shooting of an American woman by an ICE agent. The Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent fired 3 times into a vehicle driven by 37-year-old Renee Good, killing her on Wednesday, and protests erupted around the city. against the Trump administration's crackdowns, and federal agents from various agencies faced off against demonstrators. You have the governor, Tim Walz, who said yesterday his National Guard is on standby to come in if they're needed, said CNN law enforcement analyst John Miller. But he reminded people that Minnesota's National Guard, who are, working for the people. We also saw in prior incidents where in Los Angeles, in particular, where the White House and the Pentagon sent in National Guard from other states. In one case, the Marines to guard these federal buildings and facilitate the passage of these operations. The demonstrators gathered around 7 a.m. to block the deployment of immigration patrols from a federal facility. And Miller predicated President Donald Trump. I think he meant predicted. And its officials could order more resources into the area. It certainly has the potential to accelerate this kind of encounter and these kinds of clashes. What you will see is two different things, Miller said. This continues to escalate. One, the federal government will send in more resources. Don't be surprised if we see National Guards or Marines or guards deployed from other states federalized by the president. This continues, but also do not be surprised, as we learned from George Floyd, as we learned from Ferguson, that protesters and activists from other cities will flood into Minneapolis to say this has become the battleground of this issue. Young noted, hold on. What we're seeing is different levels of maybe training per agent. Young reported there are some agents who are trying to use de-escalation, and they're talking with protesters and trying to walk them through it. And there are other agents who are literally having conversations where they're antagonizing the protesters, telling them to bring it if they want to bring it. And they're using their body to physically push people down to the ground. We've watched that in several occasions. That happened right here on the line. Young noted that federal authorities appeared to be dropping some of their equipment as tensions flared.
Yeah, they definitely use gas, John, and I didn't have this us being gassed 3 times before the day got started here, but that's what they used. They deployed the agent in the corner where that American flag is, and they allowed it to breeze back this way to kind of break up the crowd. One of the things that we should talk about, and I would love for John Miller to talk about this, is what we're seeing is a different level of maybe training per agent. There's some agents here who are trying to use de-escalation, and they're talking with the protesters and trying to walk them through it. Then there are other agents who are literally having conversations where they're antagonizing.
Okay, well, I just read what he's saying, so we don't need to listen to it. I mean, yeah. It's it's tough because I don't know what you do if you go out and really try to fight this, protest against this, or put your body on the line. That's what you're literally doing. People are it's gonna start getting very, very real. But if you don't do it, you just allow them to keep pushing forward. We're in a double bind, right? If you don't do anything, if you don't get out there and put your body on the line and just say, that's it, no more. If you don't do that, they just keep going. You give them room to keep going. Say what, Timothy? The agent was previously hit by a car and dragged 50 feet hospitalized? What do you mean? All right. Well, this also was going around. This is in Grand Rapids, Michigan. This woman was speaking on the news, anti, action in Venezuela, anti-imperialism protester, and cops came and just took her away. Again, she's a U.S. citizen.
This is not just a foreign issue, it's our tax dollars that are also being used to commit these war crimes. It is also the duty of us, the people, to stand against the Trump regime, the Trump administration, that are committing crimes both here in the U.S. and against people in Venezuela.
Now, in the background of this interview, you could see that police car. And now right here, we're showing you video we have. Immediately after the interview finished, Plickta was arrested by 2 Grand Rapids police officers. You can see it in the video. And an officer tells Plickta that she is being arrested for obstructing a roadway and failure to obey a lawful command from a police officer. You can see as she's taken away in that car, she was issuing a number of messages.
This is not just
That's wild. Yeah, I was going to say, what is that, an excuse for him to be? I actually think that's bullshit. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. Whether or not it really happened. Oh, okay, so he got dragged by a car, but that doesn't say, well, he was traumatized, so he could shoot at this person's face. No. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. And if you're traumatized, you shouldn't be an officer. You shouldn't be working as an officer if you have some kind of trauma around that, or if you're skittish, or if you don't know how to control your weapon, or if you don't know how to obey the law, or if you don't know how to not use lethal force when it's not necessary. You shouldn't be working as an officer. Period. End of story. And you know what? Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy anyways. He's an ICE agent pulling guns on people. Fuck that guy. I could give a shit. They made that shit up. I think they just made that shit up. Sorry. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't fucking believe it. Okay. I mean, they're saying on yeah. I'm like, nah, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. It still doesn't justify what he did. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. It doesn't. It does not. I don't, it doesn't matter to me. Like, okay, sorry for your luck. You got hit before and that sucks. And, it's a dangerous job. It doesn't allow you to shoot somebody in the face. Sorry, it does not. Especially when you step in front of the car and pull your gun out. Bullshit. I don't believe that story at all. I'm sorry. I don't believe it. I'm going to need, just because there's, I don't freaking believe it. Christy Nome said the officer was hit by a car. Really? So we were going to believe her? Okay, listen, I just don't believe the story. I just don't. I think it's part of the propaganda machine. She said the officer was hit by the vehicle. He was not. He was not hit by the vehicle. I'm sorry. Anyways. Yeah. I'm very, very skeptical of that story. I'm very skeptical. I'm sure. Okay, he was hit by a car and dragged, and that's why he. It's just a little too, it's a little too. She deserved it. More of that. Right? It's propaganda. It's propaganda pushed out there to make it seem like, yeah. Talk about how calm and peace can start. I don't know. Victim blaming. Exactly. All of it is generated to make it seem like she deserved to get that. All of it. I don't know, Wendy, but I would like some peace and some calm. I don't know. Gather money for the family of the lost. I think, yeah, for sure. They probably have, all kinds of stuff for that. It's probably GoFundMe's and whatnot. Sorry. He's done this before. I mean, what I witnessed or what it looks like in that video is that he knew she was going to drive away and he just shot at her to get her not to drive away, which is not an acceptable response, period. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like the peace and calm that everybody is kind of wishing for is the thing that they're taking advantage of. There's too much peace and calm around what's going on. Yeah, I don't believe that. Man, shoot, so much time has passed already. Meanwhile, in Israel, Netanyahu is facing corruption charges. And there's a lot of chaos going on.
Started as a protest to speak out against drafting Orthodox Jewish people, but spiraled to a massive.
Hold on here.
Israel is on the brink of civil war as protests engulf Tel Aviv and massive pressure is put on the Netanyahu government. Ultra-Orthodox Jews are protesting the government because Netanyahu stripped them of their religious exemption, making them eligible to draft. And Israel is not handling this well, as the protests quickly become violent as a former IDF member slams a bus into a group of protesters, killing a teenager and injuring many more. This is what happens when you refuse to murder children on behalf of the genocidal government of Israel. But tell me more about the oppressive Iranian regime and the protests that are happening there. There is complete radio silence from Western corporate media about Israel completely falling apart. It started as a protest to speak out against drafting.
Okay. So there is chaos in Israel. I mean, the fact that Netanyahu is actually up, like, has a case against him. I mean, Israel is more of a country than we are, because Trump should be, should have a case against him. All kinds of people, Pelosi, everybody should have cases against them for corruption. Like in other countries, they actually try people for corruption. They actually put them on trial. They actually have judges and juries and charges. Here, they're like, wow, you guys are pretty corrupt. I wonder who's going to do something. Can I get on some of that action too? Right? Like, it's what? Zalipa said, you heard this confrontation was after hours of them butting heads? Who? The agents? And the lady? Yeah, I mean, they actually have a corruption trial going on. Okay, so yeah, that was another big thing in the news the last couple of days, is that the judge supposedly in this trial was killed in a motorcycle accident. Then so then it was kind of fact checked that he wasn't actually involved in the case. He was involved in the main trial. But he was involved in another case around the submarine affair. Anyways, I find it interesting. I mean, it was reported in a lot of... It's reported everywhere. And then they said, oh no, he wasn't part of it or whatever, which I find interesting. I find it interesting that, they tried to like downplay that. But, I did look it up. I mean, it looks like he was hit by a car. They're just saying it's an accident. But there are a lot of news outlets talking about this. A lot of international news outlets basically talking about this. I'm trying to get to one of them. We didn't even really... So today is the 1 year anniversary of the fires. We didn't even get to really talk about that. And people are still kind of, displaced from that event. Still reeling, still not made whole. Don't drive a motorcycle when the Mossad hates you. So the agent and the lady, they were going at it for a while. Is that interesting? It's still none of that excuses, not the supposed supposedly he was run over by a car before. Okay, I'll take it face value what they say about that, but I kind of don't believe that story. I'm having a hard time going, okay, sure. I feel like it's part of the propaganda. Even if that's happening, even if whatever, it was not, acceptable for him to do what he did. Not acceptable. None of that is covered by the law. I'm sorry. Not at all. And if you're shell shocked because you got hit by a car, why did he step in front of the car? He stepped right in front of the car. Intentionally, on purpose. He definitely stepped in front of that car. To what? To block her, to say no, do not proceed. Like, why would you do that? If you're shell shocked, if you're traumatized, if you wouldn't do that. You would stay, you'd be like, whoa, this lady could do anything. I'm going to stand over here. That's what you would do. You wouldn't step in front of the car and go bring it on. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And still wrong. Sorry. She was blocking vehicles for hours or something. It still doesn't matter. It still doesn't matter. You don't shoot somebody for that. I mean, they might be frustrated, but you don't shoot somebody for that. They might be frustrated, and that's, too bad, suckers. That's what you get for being fucking Nazi pieces of fucking shit. Oh, you're frustrated? You don't get to shoot people for that. Yeah, so I don't know. I thought I was going to talk about it being a year anniversary of the fires. I don't know. I don't know what there is to say about it. In the New Year's Day parade, the Rose Parade, which happens in the old town of Pasadena, which is right next to Altadena. Altadena had a float in the parade, and they said there was controversy over a sign that they showed that they asked the AG to investigate the response to the fires, and everybody was like, "Oh, how dare they!" You're right. Obsolete. You're absolutely right. I know there's a big vibrate higher crowd, but I'm telling you, we're vibrating right into our own prison cells. Power concedes nothing without a demand. Period. The end. End of statement. And a demand isn't like, please. A demand is, it's, we're not, this is where it ends. That's the demand. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It doesn't go, oh, I was wrong. Maybe I'll do better next time. Yeah. Yeah. I'm pissed about the fact that guy felt the need to shoot this lady. Maybe she was annoying. Maybe she was frustrating them. Maybe she told them to fuck off. Maybe they didn't want her to drive away. You still don't shoot her in the face. That's probably pretty true, obviously. Yeah. And that's the point of being out there, closing streets down or not allowing ICE agents to pass. You're supposed to be frustrating them. That's what you're supposed to be doing. What she was doing was the Lord's work. What she was doing was correct. What she was doing was for the citizens of the country to stop the fascism. That's what she was doing. They shot her for that. What she was doing was true and correct, was absolutely not, I don't know. It sucks because she ran, right? They tried to get her out of the car and she just drove off and they shot her. I mean, I don't know. I guess she could have just let herself be taken in. She'd probably still be alive. I don't know. Or maybe not. I don't know. Where do you think she'd be? Anyways, guys, if you like the show, if you want to support the show, there's lots of links in the description box of whatever platform you're watching on. If you want to contribute to my GoFundMe for my fire, I'm still, suffering consequences. My life is still definitely not anywhere back to normal. Anyway, if you want to contribute to the GoFundMe, the link is in the description box. Yeah, I'm still trying to make it back to some kind of sense of normalcy. Still not in a permanent place to live. I'm in a temporary place. A little less temporary than it was before, but still temporary. I'm also going to check out, I was in part of a documentary about the fires that a local guy produced, and one of my songs was in it. So I'm going to go check it out tomorrow afternoon. We're going to go see the screening of it. So that should be cool. I'll let you guys know how that is. What else is going on? I think I had Zionist billionaire Paul Singer wins ownership of Venezuelan oil company Citgo. What? After conveniently placing a bid a couple months ago, after Trump informed him of the U.S. plans to abduct Maduro. Wow, that's crazy.
As Venezuela and the U.S. are about to get into an all-out war, somehow it's Israel that comes out on top because, yeah, that's what basically just happened, because it looks like in coordinated bid for Citgo refinery. So in 2019, the U.S. put sanctions on PDVSA, which is a Venezuelan parent company of Citgo. Those sanctions meant that no one in the U.S., no business in the U.S. could do business with PDVSA. Now, this is a great opportunity to explain to you guys how sanctions greatly impact the economics of Venezuela, because obviously this parent company being sanctioned by the United States was going to go into default when you can't produce the one thing you need to produce. And that's exactly what happened. And right on time, surely by coincidence, Singer comes in just a couple of months before they kidnap Maduro, and he bids to get Citgo and wins the bid. And the victory looks even more suspect when you consider the fact that another company came in and bid for Citgo as well, putting up $7 billion, more than $1 billion than Singer put up. And yet Singer still won. Why and how could Singer have won in an extremely timely move that almost exclusively benefits him, U.S. billionaires, and somehow Israel? Well, some people are going to call me anti-Samantha for saying this, but it's probably because of the last one. It's probably because of Israel. See, as far as billionaires go, this man, Paul Singer, has to be one of the most rabid Zionists out there. And he has a wide range of pro-Israel focused NGOs, including Birthright to Israel, Friends of Israel Defense Forces, and the Israel Project. And he even funds pro-Israel Christian initiatives because allegedly he's a Christian. And for those of you who may believe that an American billionaire buying Citgo will be beneficial to United States citizens, don't get your hopes up, y'all, because this man is known to send his jobs and his investments right back over to Israel. And if Israel really did help get this deal done, where do you think those contracts are going to go? Now, understand, purchasing Citgo specifically wasn't some matter of coincidence and a bid to just get any company that deals in oil refinery. The oil refineries of Citgo sit in the U.S. Gulf Coast. And because of how traditionally difficult it is to refine the crude oil of Venezuela, it is actually those oil refineries that they need to get the refinery done in an efficient and costly manner. This is the very definition of perfect timing. But we all know your timing can't be this perfect in a $1 billion bid unless you knew something ahead of time. Once you see this, there's only a few conclusions that you can draw. Israel is definitely involved in this entire debacle with Venezuela because of 3, they already had plans for this oil, and none of it had anything to do with drugs, fentanyl, or otherwise. Also, the U.S. was going to create any excuse they had to justify kidnapping Maduro and putting troops on the ground. So for those of you wanting to know why the U.S. actually puts sanctions on countries like Venezuela, it's to take advantage of opportunities like these.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, who knows where this is all going. 2026 is off to a a roaring start. And I don't know where this is all going to end up, but right, I don't know where this is going to go. Remember, but always remember, we are the focus group. We are the focus group. We are the focus group. They can make, all this, they can make, bot and AI propaganda, and they can flood the zone with like paid propagandists, social media, and mainstream news or otherwise. But remember, we are the focus group. We are the focus group. We are the focus group. So keep talking about this. Keep talking about this in the way that you want to express yourself. Because they know, like, it's important that they know how the majority of people feel, how most people feel. And they're trying to flood the zone to counter what it is that people are talking about, but everybody knows we're all talking about this in this manner, in this fashion, right? They, the more we talk about it, the more they understand that the resistance is real. And, once it goes, wherever, once it goes, public instead of like just on social media, it might, I'm sure that they fear that we actually stand up for ourselves. So I don't know what we're going to do to organize ourselves in order to stop this, and I don't really know what the best way is logically. I think people just try to hit it from all sides, from in the ways that they best know how to. So, do whatever it is that you think that you can to make it better. Wendy, if you're listening, if you want to meditate on peace, if you want to put that vibration into the world, do that. If that's what you think is the most helpful thing, do that. Hopefully you don't feel like people were shouting you down. I don't know what the best way to do this is. I do think that there's going to actually have to be some physical resistance or something, some kind of, we're going to have to, organize and stand up until we do that. I think they're just going to keep on cranking it up. That's just my personal thought. But hey, whatever it is that you think is going to be the way to do it, do that. Eric T. Red has 11 demands on Substack. Okay. Yeah, I like to see a list of demands. I got a list of demands. That's a really great Saul Williams, the poet and musician. He has a song called List of Demands. It's a great song. Go listen to List of Demands by Saul Williams. Good stuff. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. I will be back on Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And y'all enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the weekend if you can. And yeah, stay sane. And until next time, beware the bear.